Hi everyone, it's Lee White, your transformational coach, and we're coming to you live this afternoon for a live Q&A with Jan Beacham, Ironman athlete or triathlete and ultramarathon runner and health coach who loves working with ambitious women, who she is energizing and guiding to have more energy in their everyday life and to reach all of their goals. So welcome, Jan.
Thank you, Lee. Thanks very much for having me. I'm excited to be here and chat with you all today.
So, Jan, tell me a little bit about what road led you to becoming a health coach or in all that you do.
Sure. I mean, that's really interesting because I haven't always been a health coach. I've spent 10 to 15 years in corporate sales and marketing, working with fast-moving consumer goods, and which began, although fabulous companies began not to sit that well with me, soft drinks, snack foods, that kind of thing. And as I got older and got more into my sport and the way I live my life, it just didn't resonate. So after having children, it was a perfect opportunity to take a break, rechannel, refocus. And I retrained and have been in the health and wellness industry since then for the last 7 or 8 years in various guises. And last year I started my own business, Health Habit Health Coaching, which I'm loving. It's brilliant.
Brilliant. And it must be so uplifting to be working with people that have these goals that seem out of their reach and that you can guide them to.
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing I really love is helping people set goals and achieve them. And goals actually don't have to be massive. They can be quite small or quite large. And there is a good process to help us reach our goals, small or large.
Jan knows all about large goals. In the time I've known her, Jan has done the Ironman events. She's done the ultra marathons, which are definitely big goals. And when I asked you about the Alps to Ocean event, now if you don't know what the Alps to Ocean event, I think it's 350 kilometres. It's running from the Alps in New Zealand to the ocean in the southern island of New Zealand, and it's taking place next February. And when I asked you about you doing this, you're going to be showing up and doing that one, aren't you?
I am. That's next February.
And Jan, what surprised me so much is you said to me that it will be fun. And I really paused when Jan said that would be fun, because for me, a big physical event like that, I didn't really get where the fun part was. And can you share with us what fun plays, the role that it plays in goals?
Well, for me, fun plays a role in everything I do. And if it really wasn't going to be fun or I couldn't find an element of fun in it, I wouldn't be doing it. Although this is a race, I'm not racing against anybody else. I'm racing against me and the elements and whatever the race is going to throw at me. And I just do it to enjoy it, to be out there, to challenge myself, to know that I can achieve things that initially seem unachievable. And I find a little bit of fun in most things I do, however hard.
I love that perspective where you're running your own race.
Yes, I mean, that's a lot about what endurance events are like. I mean, there are some people who are out there to win. But your everyday person like me, and I'm just an everyday person, we are just out there to see what we can do.
Wow, that's just brilliant, absolute gold. And so what about when you adopt a fun attitude, how do you keep sort of credible? Like, tell me about, or you told me you shared something before we started about a habit of yours that you might like to share with us.
I think what Lee's referring to is my coffee habit. So when I was training for my first Ironman event, it's 180 kilometers of cycling during the Ironman, so it's quite a lot of hours in the saddle. So I'd head off on a Sunday morning for my early ride, sometimes on my own, quite often on my own. But my fun in it would be somewhere along the way to find a nice little spot and stop for a coffee and smell the roses and look at the view and, massage my sore bum.
Wow, that's just gold.
That was the fun for me, I didn't have to flog myself constantly and sit on that saddle for 5 hours without a break. I was still going to do the mileage. I was still putting in the efforts when I was riding, but I could take a bit of fun and stop and smell the roses.
It's just such a great metaphor for everything, isn't it? It really
is. And it's funny, my husband, who is also a cyclist, couldn't believe that I would do such a thing. He was sort of like, I can't understand why you would do that. Well, because I want to, because it's fun, and it's not interfering with my training to an extent. Like I said, I'm not out there to win the race. I'm out there to, have a great time and enjoy every moment. And I did when I did that race after that. It's 12 hours, pretty much, nearly 13 for me, doing that Ironman distance, and I smiled all the way. My face was hurting because I was smiling so much towards the end.
And what does that smiling, because you must have, you weren't just naturally doing that. What role does that play? Is that a tactic?
It is a tactic in training. Actually, during that race, it was just so great to see everybody around. But I do use it as a tactic during training, because training can get hard. Like anything is hard. It doesn't mean it's not fun. Hard and fun can go together. But if I would get a little bit down and finding things tough, I do look around me, find something to smile about. Being out in nature, like I try and smile about the fact that the sun is out, or maybe that the sun's not out if it's a really hot day, or a beautiful flower, or a view, or I smile at everyone and say hello to everyone that comes past me just to lift my mood.
It's very mindful, isn't it? It's very generous to be giving those smiles out.
Yeah, it's all that dish, fake it till you make it. Just keep that smile coming until you really feel it. I know all about the fake it till you make it.
And so that's a really great sort of segue into this thing of how the relationship with ourselves, when we're flogging ourselves like that, we've got this big goal, because it doesn't have to be a physical goal, can it?
Absolutely
it could be anything in a career, or to have a relationship, or to overcome a challenge in a relationship, or something like that. And what about in the Western world, the role of self-compassion is not taught as broadly as being really hard on yourself. And can I share a secret with you?
Go on.
So for many, many years, my whole ethos was, the harder you are on yourself, the easier life is on you. And so that got me to a point.
Okay.
And then other things came along and changed the trajectory. And that whole thing around self-compassion, it sounds like you're really nailing that when you're really embracing that, would be the language, when you're being mindful in an event, or in the whole way your relationship with yourself about these big goals.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And, I think, like you said, you have changed the way you look at that statement. Sure. I think that comes often as we get a bit older.
It's true.
That we do transition into really, looking after ourselves and trying to feel good about ourselves.
And maybe, do you think it's because in our journey we've had more pain, or we've seen and witnessed all that life can bring you, and that compassion becomes a part of, like, that's the only way you're going to get through it. Yeah.
I think that generally that's what we know. And, if you can impart that on somebody earlier in life, that's brilliant, because it will really help them. And so I always try and find joy in something I do. Like I just said, hard doesn't necessarily mean fun. I train really hard, and I always have a plan, and I stick to my plan. Or if I can't stick to it, I modify it, but always got a plan, and I just look after myself along the way with that. Trying to always keep a positive mindset. Setbacks are always going to come, but there's ways you can find around that to keep your head in the right place.
Well, that thing of failure it's said to be vital for success. You will push yourself, and then you'll fail with different things. And through failure, we'll get a new perspective. We might make meaning about our journey, those kind of things. So what do you think about failure?
Failure is a word I don't really like. I like to call it a learning. Things don't go your way, and you will learn from that. Failure has such negative connotations attached to it, but things that we just learn along the way all the time. We try things, they might not go our way, they might not work, and then so we learn from that, and we alter our trajectory or our course, and we move forward. So yes, there are lots of learnings along the way, and it is fine to have days where things don't go your way. But it's really great to learn from those. And I think that's what makes you grow and be bigger.
Yeah, the failure aspect. Have you had any that you've had that were big lessons where you started changing the way you responded, or did it just happen more gradually?
I think it's gradually. I mean, I've had some, last year I ran across the Simpson Desert in an ultramarathon race. It was stay a 5-day race with about a marathon a day. And one day was a double marathon. And on that day, I was, I started off knowing that I didn't really feel that great. Things weren't going my way, but I was sort of modifying things that I did along the way, trying to get through. And at one point on that day, about 30 kilometers in of an 80-kilometer day, 50 still to go, my leg didn't really function very well anymore. The knee stopped being a knee, and I just had a straight plank, what it felt like going down my leg. And I kind of thought, well, that's it. I'm done, It's okay. I've had 4 days of great running or 3 days of great running. I've done a marathon every day. I could give up now. My head's going, you could give up now. It's okay. You've done a good job. But still, there was another, there's a goal to reach. And my mind played tricks on me for about the next 10 kilometers.
Familiar. Now we're getting into the familiar part for me. Yeah.
One part of your mind is going, well, you can just give up now and it'll be fine. You've done a good job. And the other part's going, why would you give up now?
Yes,
you can't give up now.
That's the part I would go into, yeah.
And so, that's a learning. You're learning along the way to work with your mind, because lots of things that you do are actually not that. They are physical, but physical is, you can keep your body going. It's the mental aspect that's actually really challenging. It makes you stronger. So I just had to alter what I did on that day, and I kept saying, well, I'll just go to the next checkpoint, another 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, then I'll think again. And every one of those, I got there thinking, I'll just give up now. And then I'd sit down for 10 minutes thinking, I'll just go to the next. And I had a wonderful, we could call it an accountability buddy with me that day, who stopped to help me, and we made it through together.
Wow.
So with the support of somebody else, and just chunking it up into small goals, I achieved that day, and then went on the next day to finish the race. So I made full way across the desert. But it was a really tough day, and you could say that I had failed in a way because I had to walk for 50 kilometers of that day instead of running. But I just altered my course, and with the help of another person, who I will be forever grateful to, made it to the end of the day.
That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And is that where it's really important to be with somebody who has been there before, knows what's going on, like that person that had been there alongside of you?
I mean, that does bring me to another point. I think it's really important when you are trying to achieve a goal is to share your goal and have somebody on your side, have somebody in your court cheering for you and helping you along. Sometimes giving you a little kick up the butt. We all need that. But somebody who's always really got you back. And if that person has been there before and has got the knowledge, then that's even better. That's just gold.
And would that be the difference between asking the neighbour to be your accountability buddy who's never run before and asking someone like you?
There is a big difference. Obviously, it is what I do for a living, but I've had coaches along the way for most things I do, and usually they are professionals and good at what they do, whether it's for business, whether it's for sports, for running. But it is brilliant to have a coach, someone to keep you accountable, and someone to help you plot the steps along the way and to cheer you on and to kick you up the butt when you're down.
It's like a shortcut.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It's really so worth it. You just share your goals with somebody and get out there and get some support.
Absolutely. And some people say that that fear in our lives plays a really important role, because what we fear the most is probably where our biggest lesson or learning is going to be. What do you think about that?
I like that thought. Most of the goals that people set that are really challenging are a bit scary. And that doesn't mean that they're a big goal. It could be really quite a small thing, but there's a little bit of fear involved for that person. And it's almost by facing those fears with a plan and with someone to support you along the way, that we do learn a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the joy of achieving or reaching that place that you did fear is so much bigger.
Oh, yeah.
What comes at the end is just amazing, and the way you feel at that point will stay with you forever.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just an incredible moment for sure. And so what about when somebody has begun their journey towards their goal, they've got a bit of a plan, broken it down, and then along the way they have a setback or actually it's not even based on a setback. It's more around their motivation, and they're going to give up on the goal. What do you think about that?
The first thing, it goes all the way back to, for me, looking at a goal as a 3-step process. 1, setting the goal, make sure it's something that you personally want to do, then chunking it down, and then getting someone to support you along the way. So each of those 3 things, there is a role in there for what we said, for when you need to carry on. So when you're setting your goal, make sure it's your goal and that you have a passion for that goal, even if you're scared of it to death, but you still want to achieve it. It's not something that somebody has put on you saying, oh, I really think you should do X or Y in your life. So that you need a really passionate why inside you for achieving that goal. So first of all, I'd say if you feel like you're not reaching your goal, just take a step back and look at, is it something you really want to achieve? And if it is, great, let's go forward. Chunk it down into steps. And when you want to give up, don't think about the end goal too much. Think about what's tomorrow's step, or what's the day after step, or the next week. Chunk that down, because it can be a bit too scary and daunting to look right at the end. Like when I set out probably to run 250 kilometers for the first time, I never in a million years imagined how I could do it. I knew I wanted to do it.
Where did that come from? Was it just within you? You heard about it?
I thought this is sort of like, who wouldn't want to be in the Simpson Desert on their own able to do this? That was my thought. I'm sure people don't, but that's what I thought. Who wouldn't want to do this?
Pretty amazing.
I didn't know how I could do it, so that was pretty scary. And some days, like, I'm never going to do it. I didn't know how to get there, but I knew I wanted to get there. And so I had just looked to the next day. Well, next day I've got to run. I've only got to go and I run 10 kilometers. So I'm just going to do next day, and then I'll think again, and then I'll think again. So if you're feeling like you want to give up, don't think too much about the big end. Think about the small step tomorrow. Make it one more step. Make one more step. Yeah,
it's so true, isn't it? We don't need all the answers right at the beginning. And how would you know?
You have to trust in the process. If you've got a plan, trust in the plan, trust in your coach, trust in your process, and just think about tomorrow.
And what would you say to people who are starting out? They've never worked on any of their health, really, like they've sort of left school and grown up or whatever, and haven't got a routine going. Diets, sleeps, everything.
For me, health is central to everything we do. I have this phrase that I use with all my clients, which is your health is your wealth. So without wealth, what are we going to be? So health is central to everything you want to do. I mean, if you didn't have your health, and you didn't look after it, so many things are going to be unachievable for you in life. So focus on your health. It's just definitely a priority. And to do that, it's not this big thing. It's about creating small habits every day. My company is called Health Habit, and what I really ingrain in people is it's about the small things, it's make them habitual, and they add up to the big things and the big change in your health. So it's little things that we can just do every day. It's not what you do sometimes that matters, it's what you do all the time that counts. And that's what's going to grow your health.
And how can, when we're making small steps, how do we get out of, you're going to love this one, comparison? You know, I call it comparisonitis.
Yeah.
How do we stop that?
That's such a hard thing to do, isn't it? Especially as women. We love to look to the next person to us and think,
oh, she runs way further than me.
Yeah, she can run further than me. Or how can she always resist that piece of chocolate cake? Or her sleep is amazing. Why is mine not? That's all we do is that you look, and especially with social media at the moment, all you're doing is looking at comparisons of other people and how wonderful everyone's life looks.
It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare.
And, I don't have a really great solution to do it. Say don't. Stop.
Be mindful of.
There's no need to do. Once you stop comparing yourself to somebody else, you feel so much freer. We are our own individuals, our own person with our own strengths. And within us, we can do anything we want within a time frame.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like we can't do it tomorrow necessarily. But if we want something, we can work towards that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we've got to monitor our thoughts, stay off the bloody social media, and or be selective. And the other parties, would it be valuable to write down your own goals or accomplishments or something, and then be acknowledging those?
I mean, that's such a great idea, isn't it? Really,
it's the only way I can do it.
If you think about, what's awesome about you, what you've done, what you've achieved, and actually sometimes when you start to write them down or just list them mentally in your head, you suddenly remember, like, wow,
Yeah.
you know, it's been a really good day. Look what I've achieved, or it's been a really great year, or I've had, you know, however long you're looking back over, you'd be amazed.
It really weaves into the self-compassion and overcoming that feeling of not being enough.
Yeah.
By looking at real, credible examples.
That's right.
Yeah. Of evidence.
Because most of us women, actually, we do want to support each other, and we're all pretty unique, but we're all pretty ordinary. You might think someone's got such a special talent, but we're all different. We've got our unique talents. We're all pretty ordinary, and we can just work away at learning new things, doing new things, keeping a great mindset. You know, and if we want something bad enough, we can get there at some point. Maybe not tomorrow, but at some point.
Yeah, I like that. I hear that a lot in the world of the whole manifesting your goals, is you're going to get there eventually. Yeah. And I fully embrace that because it is how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, you never know how long it'll be from A to B.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you can lay out a path and then you alter that path along the way as things come up.
Yeah. And is there anything else you'd like to sort of share about what you've got coming up, either between now and when you do the Alps to Ocean in February, or within your coaching practice?
Sure. I mean, definitely I'm training hard now. I myself have hit a roadblock in my training. I've taken on a small injury, so I'm just working around that at the moment. But I'm still moving towards my end goal. I'm just doing what I need to do tomorrow, not having a panic about it's only February.
It's amazing that you can sort of just go, well, just for today. You know, that's actually a Reiki precept, is the just for today, like, I won't get angry. Yeah. Just for today, it's so powerful.
Yeah. So personally, I'm working towards that goal. Professionally, this is such a busy time of the year for us all, isn't it?
Definitely.
We are racing towards Christmas, and I am focusing with my clients at the moment about really arriving into 2019 with our health, on top of our health, not allowing these next few months to derail us, to stress us out, to give us burnout.
Yeah.
So really, I'm focusing on what I call my seasonal survival skills.
That is great.
Which, you know, I love at this time of year, you know, and it's around the 4 pillars that I always work on. It's around nutrition, around movement, around stress management, and around sleep. So I'm focusing on survival skills. I've got a new course that's up and coming starting on the 19th of November, which is called Seasonal Survival Skills.
That's fantastic.
It's 4 weeks with 4 masterclasses and 4 group coaching calls around how we get through this season, allowing us to, have a wonderful Christmas day and arrive in 2019 feeling on top of our
day. It's so crucial, isn't it? And how people can do it all, like to be able to have some movement in their day and remember to buy what they need to buy, to be eating well and doing all of that. It's not going to happen by accident, is it?
No, it does take some planning, like everything. And so with someone like me as a coach to support you, the aim of this is to remind you to be able to do all those things, how to cope, to get you back on track, and have some fun along the way.
Yeah, well, that's
because we often forget this time of year. It's supposed to be fun, isn't it? This is supposed to be the season of goodwill and joy, and yet we get so frazzled.
Yeah, and to be able to have some goodwill for yourself.
Yes. And
to change, like you might be in this sort of habit of every year you let it get on top of you or whatever.
Yeah.
But to do it differently.
That's right. So to look after your health, a bit of self-care for yourself at this time of year is going to allow you to survive this season.
I'm just going to say a quick hi to Leonie. Have you got any questions that you would like to share with us? Please do. If anybody is watching, I know that there are others watching that we can't quite see their names right now, but if there's anything you would like to ask, please do while we're here and live. I know a lot of the best conversations happen in the replay, but we are right here before you now, and Jan is sharing so much of a wealth of wisdom about big goals and achieving them.
Hi, Leonie.
So I need a cough button.
Yeah. For anyone who's got a goal out there and would like some support, please, don't hesitate to contact me if it's a health and wellness goal, or Lee, I'm sure, is out here as well to support you all.
Definitely.
But just to recap, my 3 steps would be, make sure that goal is a goal really that you believe in, even if it scares you, scares the pants off you. As long as you believe in it, great. Then when you chunk it down into small steps, the best way to eat an elephant, 1 bite at a time. So chunk that goal down and then just focus on doing the next day. And the third one is spread your goal and let people know what you're doing and get someone to help you with the accountability, whether that's a coach or, there are some great online groups that you can join to get people who are doing the same kind of goal with you. So, do those 3 things. And then number 4, obviously overarching it all, have fun.
Yeah.
Find the joy every day in what you're doing. It can be hard, but it can still be fun and you can enjoy it.
That's such an inspirational message. Absolutely.
Great.
Oh, well, thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you
and
so
thanks
much
everyone
for
that
having
could
me.
join us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I look forward to meeting some of you again soon.
Bye for now.